Okay, so the Eagles are making a big change at the cornerback 2 position with only one preseason game left. Meanwhile, the injuries are starting to pile up on offense and defense. What is going on? So much to break down, including new Eagles wide receiver John Metchie's first practice. However, the last 2 days of practice have been eye opening, but we gotta make certain decisions because the regular season is almost here. What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, and it's the Philly Talk Podcast. If you rock with our Philadelphia Eagles, hit that like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss the videos. So, a lot has happened with the Eagles in practice the last 2 days after the Eagles lost to the Browns. However, we got to start with Tuesday's practice as the Eagles' injury report came out and it was loaded. Will not practice. A.J. Brown hamstring. Tariq Castro Fields hamstring. Lewis Sign groin. Landon Dickerson knee. Brandon Johnson groin. Jordan Mailata concussion. Tanner McKee finger. Devontae Smith groin. And Dallas Goedert as a limited participant. But it didn't stop there. Eagles rookie safety Andrew Mukuba is departing practice. He grabbed his left hamstring, tried to continue practicing, but he's now headed to the tent. This kid can't catch a break. We know how tricky hamstring injuries are. He already dealt with something early in camp that made him miss like a week or so, came back, started getting first team reps, took over the first half of the preseason game versus the Browns, and now is dealing with another injury. And just when you thought enough was enough, Jonny Wilson is down. He limped to the medical tent. He was on the ground after blocking on a running play. A couple minutes later, Zack Baun said Wilson is now being carted inside. Another young player who was starting to step up in his role during training camp and preseason, now derailed by injury. However, the Eagles could put him on IR and try to stash him, but still looking at the injury list growing as we get closer to the regular season, just from Monday practice to Tuesday practice. Tanner McKee hurt his finger, Devontae Smith back with a groin, and Jordan Mailata with a concussion. And I might have missed another person who got hurt from Monday to Tuesday, but this is not what you want to see. With that being said, we already know Howie Roseman is the best GM in football, but he also might be able to see the future. It is weird. A couple days ago, we get the Adam Schefter breaking news. Trade. The Houston Texans are sending wide receiver John Metchie to the Philadelphia Eagles per source. Now, I know I'm late on that news. However, he had his first practice today, and with all the injuries, he was out there catching passes from the first team. Not right away, started on the second team, made some plays, but finished practice on the first team, catching passes from Jalen Hurts. Now, we all know his career hasn't been that great over there in Houston. However, this video is from this offseason, and he just worked their number one corner in Derek Stingley Jr. Again, this could be the fresh start he needed. He's boys with Devontae Smith, who again didn't practice today, but was out there talking to him. Who knows if they can bring back that Alabama brotherhood that they had together when Devontae Smith was winning the Heisman? He was right alongside of him, putting up some good stats too. I'm just saying. Harrison Bryant really wasn't going to make the team with Dallas Goedert, Grant Calcaterra, and even Kyle Granson making some plays in preseason. So honestly, I love the trade. And look what happened today. After Jonny Wilson went out, there was a series where it was Dairus Cooper, who, by the way, continues to make plays every single practice, and we saw what he could do versus the Bengals. I'm not counting the Browns game because there was no offense whatsoever during that game. It is what it is, though. With all the star power the Eagles have on the offensive side, who would have thought that a couple days before the season starts, you got Dairus Cooper, Jahan Dotson, Anais Smith, and John Metchie to be the only four healthy wide receivers you have out there on a Tuesday practice. Again, Smitty, AJ, all the guys are going to be back when it matters. It's still not optimal, though. And Smitty was available yesterday, and he was cooking Cooper DeJean on multiple routes. It was documented via the beat reporters there, which low-key brings us to our next topic, cornerback 2. And Philly Mike's guy, well, the guy I thought had a chance to win it, Kelee Ringo, is going backwards. He was low-key benched on Monday, and it continued in Tuesday practice. Victor Williams on today's cornerback duos in practice, which was similar to Monday's. First team, Quinyon and Adoree'. Second team, Bennett and McWilliams. and 13 was Ringo and Ricks. Now, I don't know about today's practice, but Kelee Ringo on Monday's practice was the only corner who didn't get first team reps. Both Mac McWilliams and Jacorian Bennett, who got second team reps, eventually slotted up there with Quinyon on the first team defense, but Kelee didn't. And after I read you the report of Victor Williams, it looks like the same thing happened today. But it all kind of changed when Cooper DeJean in base formation didn't go back to safety. Now he's playing cornerback 2 in base formation, which we talked about. Fangio said, as training camp goes on, he's going to find the weaker link. Is safety 2 the weaker link or cornerback 2 the weaker link? And whatever is the weaker link, that's the position that Cooper DeJean will play during base. So it looked like in the beginning it was safety. Now it's not. Maybe just Mukuba's play was enough. Or Sidney Brown, who's getting first team reps still, has been playing good. But cornerback 2 is now the weakest link, not just through our eyes, but even Fangio's eyes. Listen what he says when he was asked, has anybody shown that they are taking that spot over?
Not yet. I think all the guys are pretty even right now. And Ja'Cory just got here, got a full week last week. Need to give him a full opportunity with the other guys.
Are you disappointed at all that no one has just run away with that job?
Well, not really. I mean, they're close. Usually it does become pretty obvious to everybody as to who's going to win the job. That hadn't happened yet. I think they all have done a good job in and of their own way. Had good moments, not so good moments. So we haven't reached that conclusion yet.
Now, Vic Fangio don't ever sugarcoat, but that was probably the most sugarcoating. Again, he said not really. He's never seen it take this long, but everything is kind of working itself out. I guess that's the only way he could be nice. But his actions show that Kelee Ringo, who used to get first team reps to start practice, by the middle of practice, the last 2 days has not. So guess what? It's going to take a miracle for it to happen. But you guys are right. And I think the favorite is still Adoree Jackson based off of reps and being here. But I think Fangio wants Mac McWilliams or Jacorian Bennett to prove they could win it. I think Fangio wants them two to win it. But right now, just being here and playing, Adoree Jackson has got the most first team reps. But watch out for Bennett still because he just got here. And I think Fangio is a little bit bigger on him than Adoree Jackson, who we all didn't want to see start when we even signed him. Moving on to some good news, the Eagles defense got Zack Baun is back in the lineup. He practiced Monday and Tuesday, which kind of shuffled around the linebacker position. They gave Jeremiah Trotter and Jahad Campbell pretty much the same amount of first team reps. On Monday, Jahad Campbell looked better as he broke up a pass from Dallas Goedert. Same pass a couple plays later, it was caught on by Dallas Goedert over Jeremiah Trotter Jr. So stock up for Jahad Campbell. Now, today's practice, still going through some of the notes. However, again, it's pretty close between them. And when Fangio talks about Jahad Campbell, he says things like he got to settle down a little bit. A lot of great plays like he had versus the Browns on that blitz, but they do talk about him settling down more. When you hear anybody from the Eagles defense talk about him, they say he's a freak, he goes crazy, but he could settle down a little bit, but that will happen. He's a rookie, and I'd rather my rookie be too fast than being told to speed up. Come on, play with more effort. So it is what it is, but I do like it. So it's going to be interesting to see who the linebacker is next to Zack Baun. The higher upside, of course, Jahad Campbell, but the guy who's been playing it steady and sure and having a good training camp is still Jeremiah Trotter Jr. As for some miscellaneous stuff that happened on Monday before we flip over to Tuesday, as I said, Devontae Smith got the best of Cooper DeJean multiple times, including a contested catch in the end zone. Dairus Cooper needs to be on this roster in addition to making back-to-back catches against Ringo from throws by Tanner McKee. Cooper had a reception for a chunk gain while working with the first-team offense. Again, we are talking about Monday's practice where Smitty and Tanner McKee were available. Not today on Tuesday. We'll get there, but some more stuff on Monday's practice, including Jalen Carter going at it with Cam Jurgens. With the Eagles' offense backed up against their own goal line, Jalen Carter knifed through Tyler Steen and Cam Jurgens to get to Saquon Barkley for a tackle for loss or no gain. Carter didn't seem to be very happy with Jurgens at one point in practice. Not sure exactly what happened, but I did see Carter go down early in one rep. After the rep, Carter went to Jurgens, but the two were immediately separated by Mora Ojomo helping to intervene. Carter then kicked the ball that happened to be spotted in front of the defense while they were waiting for the offense to be done huddling. He kicked it again after someone fixed the spot. Again, this is according to Brandon Lee Gouton on his Monday observations. As for Jalen Hurts on Monday, he had multiple tight window completions over the middle to Dallas Goedert. He found a crossing Jahad Dotson in stride with Quinyon Mitchell trailing. He hit Jonny Wilson along the left sideline for a first down yardage. Hurt hit Devontae Smith to beat Cooper DeJean on 2 different reps, one for a successful 2-point conversion. Hurts avoided pressure and rolled left to find Kyle Granson in the end zone. On a scramble drill, Hurts found Dairus Cooper in a soft spot of the defense along the right sideline for another completion. It was nice to see Hurts spreading the ball around to multiple targets instead of really just locking on one player. A nice bounce back performance after struggling versus the Browns defense in joint practice too. As for Tuesday, the star was Jaylx Hunt. He was beating Matt Pryor left and right, getting sacks, getting pressures. One play, Jalen Hurts felt the pressure from Jaylx Hunt, threw the ball to Saquon Barkley, and it was picked off by Nolan Smith. That is another Nolan Smith interception. Had one in joint practice and now one today in practice. Watch out for Nolan Smith dropping back. Them hands are looking real nice to start the 2025 season. As for Jalen Hurts on Tuesday, he did have that interception to Nolan Smith, as we just talked about. But other than that, he had 2 touchdowns, moved the ball. The offense could have been better, but now we're talking no AJ, no Smitty, a limited Dallas Goedert. You also are working without your top 2 tackles in Mulata and Lane. We all know that Dickerson is out. When you factor that all in, Jalen Hurts able to move the ball even a little on defense sounds good to me. You really can't count a practice when everybody's missing. Simple as that. With that being said, I go by Philly Mike, and it's the Philly Talk Podcast. Real quick, shout out to A.J. Brown for being the 29th ranked player in the top 100. I think that's the 5th Eagle inside the top 100. A.J. Brown, top 30, number 29. Salute to him. He need to get healthy. We need all our guys to get healthy. And again, sorry for the lack of content over the weekend after the Browns game. I'm in the process of moving still. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll probably know a little bit more. On that note, once I get to my new crib, it will be smooth sailing for content. But you got to run around here, there. You already know if you moved. So appreciate everybody who's still tuning in. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Like, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. We out.